Welcome to our 5-minute Bible study today. We're, of course, in the book of Romans. We're in the midst of Romans chapter 8, looking at this mountaintop description Paul gives us of the glory of salvation. About the middle of the chapter today, and Paul begins to talk about the wonder of salvation, that it redeems all of creation. You see, salvation is not just an individual thing. It is that. It saves our souls. But also, Paul says God's plan is to redeem all of the creation. Let's look at that. We'll begin reading at verse 18 of Romans chapter 8. Paul says, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. For the creation awaits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation itself was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be redeemed from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and the glory of the children of God. Now we know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. All right. What is Paul saying? He is saying that the entire created order is going to be redeemed and restored. You see, when sin entered the world, in the sin of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, it not only affected humanity, it certainly did that. We've seen that in such clear detail. How that sin has been passed down and brought us all into bondage. Christ came to redeem us from it. Oh yeah. But more than that, that sin affected all of the creation. Paul says, look at the present sufferings around us. The world is a broken place filled with heartache, natural disaster, tragedy, sickness, disease, death. All of these things affect all of creation because our sin not only hurt us, but the sin of humanity flawed and ruined the whole creation. And Paul says the creation itself is waiting in eager expectation for full redemption. In other words, this salvation God has brought in our lives will one day be extended to the whole of the created order. And there will come a day when there will be a new heaven and a new earth. The lion will lie down with the lamb. There'll be no more war, no more violence, no more disturbance. All will be as it should be. And so Paul says, even though we suffer at the present time in the midst of this broken world of which we are a part, we know that the glory to be revealed is far surpassing to what we're now experiencing, and we look forward to that day. Now he goes on to say that we who have the first fruits of the Spirit and are awaiting the adoption to sonship, the redemption of our bodies, we're the first fruits. In other words, what God has begun in us will one day culminate in the whole created order being restored. For he says, in this hope we were saved. But hope that is seen is not hope at all. So who hopes for what they've already seen? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently. So we're waiting for the day when all the order of creation will be redeemed. There will come a day when every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. That's what Paul's talking about. So in this present world, sometimes we deal with difficulties and suffering and hardship. It's part of the brokenness of the world. But we know that this salvation God is working out in our life will one day extend to all of the creation. All will be restored. As it was in the Garden of Eden, one day it will be again. God's order will be perfected. So indeed, the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing to the glory to be revealed when God's salvation is absolutely complete. It's already begun in us, in the salvation in our lives and in our bodies and in our souls. And one day, all the created order will be restored. We look forward to that day, and we will glory in it. Amen and amen. Hope you have a great day today. I hope you have a blessed day, and you know the wonder of God's salvation working in your life. And I'll see you next time for our 5-minute Bible study in the book of Romans.